Hey everyone, and welcome to a special episode of NFI Hammer building a Necron Overlord. It's a special video because I've hit 100 subscribers. I'm absolutely blown away by this community. Everyone has been so friendly and helpful and welcoming. I really thought when I started this I was going to get maybe 3 views. So yeah, I'm totally very humbled and appreciative that people have been resonating with this. So this is an Overlord model that I bought off eBay for 19 Australian dollars. Links below. There's a great seller. I just thought that an Overlord is the most complicated model I've built. I've really only built warriors and immortals, which are just kind of slightly beefier models. And so, I was kind of a bit concerned I wouldn't be able to pull it off. So, picked up a hobby knife set for $9.90. Again, awesome viewers left some comments to say that I should pick up one. You can't really see me using it because I couldn't find a good angle to film myself cutting that didn't involve slicing off my fingertips. So, kind of skipped over that into the gluing section. But yeah, I found that the hobby knives were really beneficial compared to the butter knife that came with the Citadel set. I just cutting off little areas, in this chest piece for instance, there's just little bits of the sprue that gets left. And when you're trying to create that, really flush seal, it was really difficult. But with the hobby knife, you could just easily slice that part off and it just creates a much better join. This is just me assembling the chest piece. I got a bit confused with this back armor thing. I didn't realize where it was meant to kind of line up. Luckily I figured it out before I applied the glue. You can see there's a little, cords, tubes that connect the front and the back together. So eventually I figured it out here. I actually found this one, it wasn't too difficult. The instructions were a little bit confusing, so I ended up trying to find some other, references for the instructions. I don't know if they've been updated or I got sent an old copy. It was a little bit more confusing because there's more moving parts. I think I'd almost gotten used to the push pin kind of models and having to do it from scratch. Was kind of just learning. I've never felt so dumb in my life trying to figure out how to put this in, and I'm like, come on, I know I'm smarter than this. But yeah, I think it's because this cape, I guess you'd call it, comes out at an angle, and so when you're trying to glue it, it kind of feels counterintuitive to stick it out at an angle because it doesn't feel like it's a flush fit. But eventually I kind of figured it out. But yeah, you can see there it kind of comes out to the right. It's a bit weird. And then I couldn't really figure out where this joins onto the back. And I dropped it everywhere, so that's a lesson in what not to do. I was a bit nervous as well around this leg. When I use the hobby knife, I'm trying to point it away from myself so I don't slice myself. I was a bit nervous with the leg placement because there's a couple of different moving parts here. So you've got the leg that has to be kind of coming out in front of, I guess I'd call it the sporran, but it's the front part of his skirt or cape that's dangling at the front. So the leg needs to be in front of that, but the leg also needs to be flush at the bottom with his other leg so that they're at the same height. And then to make things even more confusing, you need to glue his weapon on his foot that's connected to his arm, and they actually need to reach and touch and look normal. So it was kind of like a multi-step thing. So here I'm trying to make sure that his leg and his other leg can be flat on the ground. And you can see there, they're totally not. He's kind of doing a Michael Jackson type lean. So I was a little bit worried here because I know the glue sets relatively quickly. And so then this is his staff that connects to his foot, but then also connects to his arm. So I'm trying to get it all in there while the glue's still setting so that I have some wiggle room. Because I really didn't want my celebratory Necron Overlord video to end in absolute disaster, or at least not this early. So yeah, I just decided to bite the bullet. I've glued his foot and his arm, and I'm just trying to get them all in position, but the glue's not set enough, and I don't have enough hands free to try and balance everything together. And so it's kind of funny actually watching this back, because I didn't realize how clumsy I look. So now I've got them kind of semi-sticking. I can position the leg and the hand to balance, and him to kind of sit upright. So that's me just trying to reposition things into a more interesting stance. I didn't want his foot to touch the sporran at the front, because I wanted to be able to kind of paint in there, and I kind of wanted to show that they're not connected. So I was really trying to push his foot forward. And so then I decided, well, I've already bitten the bullet here. So what I'm doing is I'm scoring the arm joint. So even though the glue is super powerful and it basically bonds it like it's one single piece of plastic, it's a really narrow join here. So I thought I would try and just score it to give it a bit extra to stick onto. But yeah, I ended up having to hold it for a long time to kind of get any kind of stick to it. So when it was finished, the arm is now kind of not at the right angle that I was kind of happy with. It's kind of a bit further out. I kind of wanted him to have more of a bent elbow. So that was kind of a bit disappointing. It's kind of like it's like it's going to blow up into his face or something. So he's trying to get it away from his face as far away as possible. And so I'm still trying to figure out how this cape thing works. I've found something that I think maybe is kind of stopping it from joining, so I'm just trying to cut those little things off. And so I've decided just to kind of bite the bullet and just try and stick it in anywhere. I guess I can paint around it if it's not a perfect join. I don't consider myself like an exceptionally smart person or anything, but I've never felt dumber in my life than at this exact moment, because I'm sure, there's many people out there that can figure this out, and I have no idea why I could not. So eventually I just bit the bullet. It's like YOLO, basically. I'm just going to glue this on, and now that it's stuck on, I'm just testing that it all stands kind of nicely on the ground. Then there's finally the headpiece. Now, I didn't realize until this point that there's this kind of cord, I guess, that's dangling from his face, but I completely cut it off because I thought it was part of the sprue. So my Necron Overlord doesn't have that tassel, I guess you'd call it, on his face anymore. He's just got his normal face, but I actually don't mind it as is. I mean, it has less detail, it's kind of missing that, but I feel in a way sometimes less is more. So I'm not too upset that I kind of named his outfit. So yeah, don't do that if you want to keep it. Just make sure that you really... It's because it was only on one side of his face, and I was like, oh, that has to be like not part of the design because it's not symmetrical. But with these kind of, more expensive and more detailed model, there is a lot more asymmetry. And so I guess there's a good lesson there to, not just assume that if it's not symmetrical. So now it's spray painting time, and you'll notice I kind of doing something a bit unorthodox. I'm putting his head into the blue tack. And the reason why is I kind of want to be able to spray underneath. I haven't put the base on yet, and so I want to be able to basically get rid of the the base so that the blocking of the spray paint can just get really under there and all into the nooks and crannies. I also got some great advice, thank you, to say that the spray can should be a little bit closer. I think I was a bit too far away. I was worried about the paint pooling onto the model, so I guess I was keeping a bit further back, but someone advised me to put a bit closer and it seemed to work fairly well this time. So I'm starting off with this black spray paint to just get all the shadows and everything done, and by not putting the base on allows me to kind of get, into hard to reach places. And then I switched to a white spray paint, and I'm really just doing a very light coat from the top. So basically the idea here is that the highlights where the sun would naturally hit the model will be lighter, and the areas where the sun wouldn't hit the model will be darker because the white spray paint won't overwrite the black spray paint. That's the theory anyway. So this is the final product. I'm pretty happy with it so far. I think it looks pretty menacing, pretty terrifying. I'm super excited to get painting. So yeah, thanks everybody for the 100 subscribers. I'm absolutely shocked. Thanks for watching.